E-Biology class, Fatima Convent High School, myself, Dipali. Chapter 16, Sustainable Management of Natural Resources, Class 10th. This is going to be the first session of this chapter in which we are going to study about how to manage the sustainable natural resources. Now, what is the meaning of word sustainable? The word sustainable is to be able to maintain at a certain rate or level, or to be held or to be defended. When we are able to manage it according to how or what we require and we don't run out of it, is called as sustainable. So, sustainable management of natural resources. We understood the importance of natural resources in the previous chapter. Now let us see how can we use these resources practically and economically so that they last for a longer time. And what if they cannot last for a longer time? How is it going to affect our life? So living in harmony with nature is not new to us. Sustainable living has always been an integral part of India's tradition and culture. It has been integrated with our long-lasting traditions and practices, customs, art and craft, festivals, food, beliefs, rituals, folklores. Ingrained within us is the philosophy that entire natural world be in harmony. That is one of our Indian tradition, which is reflected in the famous phrase in Sanskrit, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means the entire earth is one family. Vasudha means earth, Kutumbakam is a family. The phrase is mentioned in Maha Upanishada, that is probably a part of ancient Indian text Atharva Veda. So we can say that earth is our family and entire earth is united, and we must be taking care of it because it provides us life. In class 9th, we have already learnt about some natural resources like soil, air and water, and how various components are cycled over and over again in nature. Also, we learnt in the previous chapter about the pollution of these resources because of some of our activities. In this chapter, we shall look at some of our resources and how we are using them. Maybe we should also think about how we ought to be using our resources so as to sustain them and conserve them for our environment, which means we should be able to use them for a longer period of time, and we should be able to protect our environment because environmental imbalance is a danger to our life. We shall be looking at our natural resources like forest, wildlife, water, coal and petroleum, and see what are the issues at stake is deciding how these resources are to be managed for sustainable development, along with the input from our traditional practices. We often hear or read about environmental problems. They are often global problems and we feel helpless to bring any change. There are international laws and regulations, and there are our own national laws and acts for environmental protection. There are also national and international organizations working towards protecting our environment. You can find out about international laws to regulate the emission of carbon dioxide, and you can discuss them in the next session. So we have various international laws which regulates the emission of carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide is one of a greenhouse gas, and it increase in the level of carbon dioxide can cause global warming, and so there should always be a check or restriction over it. And for that, there are many international laws made to protect the global warming. There are a number of organizations that seek to spread awareness about our environment and promote activities and attitudes that lead to the conservation of our environment and natural resources. Find out about some of these organizations and list it. Awareness about problems caused by unlikely exploiting our resources has been fairly recent phenomena in our society. And once this awareness rises, some action is usually taken. You must have heard about the Ganga Action Plan. This multi-crore project came about in 1985 because the quality of water in Ganga was very poor. So to protect river Ganga, which is a source of water for millions of people, and because of the pollution caused in the water, the effect on the environment was hazardous. The coliform is a group of bacteria found in human intestines whose presence in water indicates contamination by disease-causing microorganisms. So, this is just one small example about it. Here is a chart which represents the fecal coliform level from Gangotri to Diamond Harbour. That is, starting from the mouth of river Ganga and ending of the river Ganga or merging into the sea. We can see the level, how it moves up and down at various places like Devprayag, Rourkela, Kanpur, Allahabad, Varanasi, Patna, Mokam, Behrampur, Dakshineshwar, Garden Reach, Palta, Diamond Harbour, even Raival and Rishikesh. So we can see the amount of or the level of coliform in 2007 and 2011, which has shown lots of variation due to the pollution. Pollution of Ganga. The Ganga runs its course of about 2,500 kilometers from Gangotri in the Himalayas to the Ganga Sagar in the Bay of Bengal. It being turned into a drain by more than 100 towns and cities in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal that pours their garbage and excreta into it. Largely untreated sewage is dumped into Ganga every day. In addition, think of the pollution caused by other human activities like bathing, washing of clothes and immersion of ashes or unburned corpse. And then industries contribute chemical effluent to Ganga's pollution. Load and toxicity kills fish in large section of the river. Namani Ganga program is an integrated conservation mission approved as a flagship program by the Union government in June 2014. It was launched to accomplish the twin objectives of effective abatement of pollution, conservation and rejuvenation of river Ganga. The National Mission for Clean Ganga is implementation wing set up in October 2016. So, as you can see, there are some measurable factors which are used to quantify pollution or the quality of water that we use for various activities. Some of the pollutants are harmful even when present in very small quantity, and we require sophisticated equipments to measure them. But as we learn in chapter 2, the pH of water is something that can be easily checked using universal indicators. Check the pH of water supplied to your houses using universal indicator or litmus paper. Also check the pH of water in the local water bodies, ponds, rivers, lakes, streams. Can you say whether the water is polluted or not on the basis of the observation? The test tube containing tap water turns yellow color with addition of pH, and the litmus paper does not show color change with tap water. The water sample collected from pond shows red color with pH indicator. Litmus paper turns red as it is dipped in water of local water bodies. The uncontaminated tap water is neutral, while water of the local body is acidic. How did it become acidic? Now, pollution is the main cause of acidic water, and no aquatic life can survive in acidic water. And yes, the tap water is clean and non-polluted water of the water body is polluted. So, you can easily understand that we need not feel powerless or overwhelmed by the scale of problems because there are many things we can do to make a difference. You must have come across the 5 R's to save environment. What are these 5 R's? They are refuse, reuse, repurpose and recycle. What do you refer to by this? Now, refuse means to say no to things people offer you that you don't need. Hoarding or collecting unnecessary things without its necessity is equal to polluting the environment. So, refuse to buy products that can harm you and the environment. Say no to single-use plastic carry bags. You can replace it by using a cloth bag, or if you have bought a small item which doesn't need any carry bags, you can carry it without the bag. This means that we use less. We save electricity by switching off unnecessary lights and fans. We save water by repairing leaky taps. Do not waste food. Can you think of other things that you can reduce the use of? Now, reuse. This is actually even better than recycling because the process of recycling uses some energy. In the reuse strategy, you simply use things again and again. Instead of throwing away used envelopes, we say reserve it and reverse it and use it again. The plastic bottle in which you buy various food items like jams or pickles can be used for storing things in the kitchen. So these are the various ways in which we can reuse things. A simple example of your pen is, instead of using a disposable pen, we can use a pen which can be reused by changing the refill. Repurpose. Now, this means when a product cannot no more be used for original purpose, think carefully and use it for some other useful purpose. For example, cracked crockery or cups with broken handles can be used to grow small plants and as feeding vessels for birds. So, think of the other use than the normal use. Recycle. This means that you collect plastic, paper, glass and metal items and recycle these material to take required things instead of synthesizing or extracting fresh plastic, paper, glass or metal. In order to recycle, we first need to segregate our waste so that the material can be recycled is not dumped along with our wastes. Does our village, town, city have a mechanism in place for recycling this material? Yes. So did you understand these 5 R's which are very important for saving our environment and for sustainable development? Even while making everyday choice, we can make environment friendly decisions. For doing this, we need to know more about how our choices affect the environment. These effects may be immediate or long term or long ranging. The concept of sustainable development encourages forms of growth that meet current basic human needs while preserving the resource for needs of future generation. Economic development is linked to environmental conservation. Thus, sustainable development implies a change with the aspect of life. It depends upon willingness of people to change their perception of socio-economic and environmental conditions around them and the readiness of each individual to alter their present use of natural resources. Have you ever visited a town or a village after a few years of absence? If you have noticed new roads and houses that have come up since you were there last, where did you think the material for making these roads and buildings have come from? Try and make a list of material and their probable sources. Discuss the list you have prepared with your classmates. Can you think of ways in which the use of these material can be reduced? Yes, obviously you can think of how to use them again. New roads must have been built, new houses have been constructed, and factories and new markets have been set up. You must have seen the resources used for doing this were granite, cement, bricks, steel, wood. Granite is obtained from rocks. Cement is manufactured in factories. Bricks are made from soil. Steel mined from the soil and wood from forest. So road can be built with cement or with polymer plastics mixed instead of coal tar. So that is how we can change and make use. And by using cement and iron to make beams and by using aluminum or fiberglass to make doors and windows will reduce the use of wood. This is how we can save and sustain our environment. These are various basic ways to do that. In the next session, we are going to understand why do we need to manage a resource. Thank you.